Hello everyone. Now today we're talking about two incredible aspects of God's character. These are his relational attributes. You see, God isn't distant. He's not some cosmic force or cold, indifferent deity. No, he is personal and deeply invested in his creation. But there's more. God is also jealous. Now, let me clarify. This isn't some petty jealousy of human insecurity. His jealousy is righteous, holy, and rooted in his love for his people and his glory. Let's start with this. We serve a relational God. He's not some divine clockmaker who wound up the universe and left it to run on its own. He's a God who desires a relationship with his creation. Think about Exodus 33, verse 11, where we read, "The Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one who speaks to a friend." Can you imagine that? The God of the universe speaking to Moses, not as a servant, not from a distance, but as a friend. That's personal and that's relational. Furthermore, this relational God has made it clear that he desires intimacy with his people. When Jesus came, he deepened that reality. In John 15, verse 15, Jesus says, "I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you." This is mind-blowing. The King of Kings, the creator of all things, calls us his friends. Not because of who we are, but because of who he is, a personal God who longs to be close to us. But here's the thing about relationship. It requires exclusivity. You can't claim to love someone while giving your heart to another. And that's where God's jealousy comes in. Exodus 34, verse 14 says, "Do not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." That's a strong statement, isn't it? His very name is jealous. Now, some people stumble over this. They think that jealousy is a flaw. But God's jealousy isn't like ours. It's not born out of insecurity. It's born out of his holiness and his love. Deuteronomy 4, verse 24 puts it plainly, "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God." This isn't a God who tolerates divided loyalties. He demands our exclusive worship because he alone is worthy. He knows that everything else we chase will ultimately destroy us. Think about marriage for a moment. A husband who loves his wife will not stand by while she gives her heart to another man. It's not because he's insecure, it's because he loves her and he knows their covenant demands faithfulness. In the same way, God's jealousy is an expression of his covenant love. He's not content to share us with idols, whether it's money or power or relationships or anything else. He wants our hearts fully and completely because he knows that that's the best thing for us. But let's be honest. We struggle with this, don't we? Our hearts are prone to wander. We say we love God, but we find ourselves drawn to other things. And here's where the personal nature of God comes back into focus. You see, he doesn't leave us in our idolatry. He pursues us. He disciplines us, not because he's vindictive, but because he loves us too much to let us destroy ourselves. Nahum 1 verse 2 says, "The Lord is a jealous and avenging God. The Lord takes vengeance and is filled with wrath." That might sound harsh, but it's the wrath of a loving father who won't let sin go unchallenged. You see, his jealousy and his personal nature go hand in hand. He's not a distant God. He's not aloof. He's involved and he's invested in your life. And that's why his jealousy is for His glory and for our devotion. When we give our hearts to idols, we're robbing Him of the worship He deserves, and we're robbing ourselves of the life that only the Father can provide. This relational God didn't just sit in heaven and demand our worship. He came down, He walked among us, He took on flesh and lived the life we couldn't live. He died the death we deserved. That's how personal He is. That's how jealous He is for His people. Galatians 4 verse 6 reminds us of this amazing truth. Because you are His sons, God sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, the Spirit who calls out, Abba, Father. Think about that. He's not just a king. He's not just a creator. He's our Father. He's our Abba. So, what does this mean for us? Well, it means we need to examine our hearts. Are we giving God the exclusive worship He deserves, or are we chasing after other things? Are we living as though He's distant, or are we embracing the personal relationship that He offers? Brothers and sisters, God is jealous for you. He loves you with a holy, unrelenting love. And He calls you not just to know about Him, but to know Him personally, to walk with Him, to worship Him, to live for Him. Don't settle for anything less. Run to Him, rest in Him, and worship Him, and thank Him. Because there is no one like our God, a God who is both all-powerful and personal. In the next video, we'll wrap up this series. I'll see you then. And until next time, thanks for watching.